The girl was already halfway frozen when the Duke found her. She stood alone beside the railroad tracks as snow drifted across the empty prairie. No coat. No horse. No family. Just a torn dress and frightened eyes that seemed too young to carry so much sorrow. The Duke slowed his stallion. For a moment he thought she might be a ghost. Then she collapsed. By the time he reached her, she was unconscious. "Easy now," he murmured, lifting her into his arms. She weighed almost nothing. As if life itself had already begun leaving her. The Duke had seen suffering before. The frontier was full of it. Orphans, widows, runaways. But something about this girl unsettled him. Maybe it was the bruise on her cheek. Maybe it was the way her fingers remained tightly clenched even in sleep. As though she was holding on to something she refused to lose. He carried her back to his ranch. For 3 days she drifted in and out of fever. The housekeeper tended to her. The doctor visited twice, and the Duke found himself checking on her more often than he cared to admit. On the 4th morning, she finally opened her eyes. The first thing she did was reach beneath her pillow. The Duke noticed. "You looking for something?" The girl froze, then slowly pulled out a small silver locket. Relief flooded her face. Only then did she answer. "My name is Clara." The Duke nodded. "Duke William Ashford." Her eyes widened slightly. Everyone knew the Ashford. Name. One of the wealthiest ranching families west of the Mississippi. Yet Clara didn't seem impressed. Only cautious. As if she expected kindness to come with a price. "You saved my life," she said quietly. William smiled. "You looked like you needed saving." Something strange crossed her face. A sadness so deep it almost hurt to witness. Then she whispered words he would remember forever. "Sometimes the people who look helpless aren't the ones who need saving." William chuckled. At the time, he thought she was simply grateful. He had no idea how wrong he was. Weeks passed. Clara remained at the ranch. She helped with chores. Cooked. When needed. Read books in the evenings. The workers liked her. The housekeeper adored her. Even William's stubborn old horse seemed unusually calm around her. Yet Clara rarely spoke about her past. Whenever anyone asked, she changed the subject. William respected her silence. Everyone carried scars. Some simply hid them better. Then one evening a stranger rode onto the ranch. His coat was black, his expression colder, and the moment Clara saw him through the window, all color vanished from her face. The cup slipped from her hands and shattered on the floor. William immediately noticed. "Do you know him?" Clara looked terrified. More terrified than she had been on the day he found her. No. It was a lie. William knew it instantly. The stranger introduced himself as Victor Hall, a businessman from the East. Polite, educated, respectable. Something about him felt wrong. His eyes kept drifting toward Clara. Watching her, studying her, like a hunter locating prey. That night William couldn't sleep. Near midnight he heard footsteps outside. He looked through the window and saw Clara saddling a horse. She was leaving. Alone. In the dark, running from something. Or someone. Then she glanced toward the house. One final time. Tears glistened in her eyes, and before William could reach her, she disappeared into the storm. By sunrise, William was already tracking her. Fresh. Snow covered most of the trail, but not enough. He followed hoofprints. Deep into the mountains. The weather worsened. Wind howled across the ridges. Hours passed. Then finally he spotted smoke rising from an abandoned cabin. Clara was inside. She looked exhausted. As if she hadn't slept at all. The moment she saw him, her shoulders fell. "You shouldn't have followed me." William stepped inside. "You shouldn't have run." For a long moment neither Spoke. The storm rattled the windows. Finally Clara sat beside the fire. Her hands trembled. Victor Hawley isn't who he claims to be. William remained silent, allowing her to continue. He worked for my father. The words came slowly, painfully. My father owned silver mines in Colorado. William frowned. That explained the locket, the education. The way Clara carried herself. Despite her poverty, she wasn't born poor. Something had happened. My father trusted Victor. Tears formed in her eyes. He stole everything. William listened quietly. The mines, the money, the land. What about your family? Clara stared into the flames. My father died trying to expose him. The room fell silent. My mother followed a year later. William's jaw tightened. And you? He wanted me gone too. The truth finally emerged. Years of hiding. Running. Surviving. Victor had spent years searching for the final witness capable of destroying him. Clara. William suddenly understood why she had fled. If Victor finds you, he'll kill me. The words landed heavily. William looked directly into her eyes. Then he won't find you. For the first time since he met her, Clara smiled. A real smile. Small. Fragile. Beautiful. Thing shifted between them that day. A quiet connection neither wanted to name. The journey home felt different. Warmer. Closer. Yet danger followed them. Victor had not given up. 3 nights later, one of William's barns burned to the ground. Then cattle disappeared. Then a ranch hand was attacked. The message was clear. Victor was escalating. William wanted to involve the law, but Clara stopped him. You don't know how powerful he is. William laughed bitterly. And he doesn't know how stubborn I am. For a brief moment, William felt something break inside him when he found the note. Not anger, not betrayal. Fear. The kind that comes when someone you love walks willingly into darkness. Because somewhere along the way, Clara had become more than a guest, more than a responsibility, more than a girl he rescued. He loved her. The realization struck with painful clarity, and it terrified him. 3 days later, he found Victor's hideout, an abandoned mining settlement, hidden among canyon cliffs. The place looked dead, but armed men guarded every entrance. William waited until nightfall, then slipped inside. The sounds of shouting led him underground. Deep beneath the earth. There he found Clara. Bound to a chair, bruised but unbroken. Victor stood before her, older now, crueler, yet smiling. You should have stayed hidden. Clara glared at him. You murdered my father. Victor shrugged. He was weak. William's fists clenched. And Victor produced a familiar silver locket. Clara's eyes widened. Where did you get that? Victor laughed. Your brother gave it to me. The world seemed to stop. My brother is alive? Victor smiled. Very alive. Hope flashed across Clara's face. Then Victor destroyed it. He works for me. The word struck harder than any bullet. No, I'm afraid so. Victor tossed several documents onto the table. Property records. Signatures. Transactions. All carrying her brother's name. Clara stared in disbelief. The final member of her family had joined the man responsible for destroying them. At that moment, William stepped from the shadows. That's enough. Every weapon turned toward him. Victor smiled slowly. I was wondering when you'd arrive. A gunfight erupted. Chaos exploded through the mine. Gunshots echoed against stone walls. Men shouted. Smoke filled the tunnels. William fought his way toward Clara, finally reaching her. He cut the ropes. Can you run? She nodded. Together, they fled deeper into the mine. But fate had one more cruelty waiting. The tunnel collapsed behind them, separating them from the exit. Trapping them underground. And as darkness swallowed the mine, they realized they weren't alone. Someone else was there, watching them. A lantern suddenly flickered to life. The figure stepped forward. Clara gasped. A man stood before them. Thin, tired, older than he should have been, yet unmistakable. Her brother. Samuel. For a moment, nobody moved. Then Clara rushed forward. Tears streaming down her face. Samuel. He looked away. Ashamed. Broken. Thought you were dead. I wanted you to. The words shattered her. Samuel sank onto a crate, years of guilt weighing heavily upon him. Victor had manipulated him when he was young, promised protection, promised revenge, promised survival. By the time Samuel understood the truth, it was too late. He was trapped. Used. Owned. Tried to leave. His voice cracked. He threatened. You. Clara's anger dissolved. Only sorrow remained. The brother she remembered was still there, buried beneath years of mistakes. William studied the tunnel. There was another way. Out. Dangerous. Unstable. But possible. The three began moving through forgotten mining passages. The deeper they traveled, the worse Samuel's condition became. Finally, Clara noticed blood. A lot of blood. Samuel? He smiled sadly. A bullet wound, hidden beneath his coat. Fresh. Fatal. Clara immediately understood. Samuel had been helping them. Victor had discovered the betrayal. Tears filled her eyes. No. Samuel squeezed her hand. I deserve this. You deserve forgiveness. For a moment he simply stared at her. Then quietly cried. The tunnel eventually opened toward the surface. Moonlight appeared ahead. Freedom. Hope. Life. Then gunshots echoed behind them. Victor. He had found them. The chase resumed across rocky cliffs. Samuel stumbled. William helped him up, but Victor kept gaining ground. Finally, they reached an old suspension bridge hanging above a canyon. Ropes creaked dangerously. One by one they crossed. Clara first, then Samuel, then William. Victor stepped onto the bridge behind them. Gun raised. Smiling. Certain. He had won. Until Samuel turned around and pulled out a knife. What are you doing? Clara screamed. Samuel looked at her one final time, the same protective smile he wore as a child. Then he slashed the bridge ropes. The bridge collapsed. Victor's scream vanished into the canyon. Below. Along with Samuel, Clara's world shattered. As dawn broke across the mountains, she knelt at the canyon's edge and cried for the brother she had only just found again. Winter slowly gave way to spring. Flowers returned to the prairie. The ranch came alive once more. Yet Clara remained, haunted by loss. Some wounds healed slowly. Others never fully healed at all. William stayed beside her through every difficult day. Never pushing. Never demanding. Simply remaining. Sometimes that is the purest form of love. Love. One afternoon Clara sat beneath an old oak tree. The silver locket rested in her hands. Inside were two tiny photographs. Her Parents, the family she had lost. William approached. Quietly. You still talk to them? She smiled softly. Every day. And what do they say? She laughed through her tears. Usually that I'm stubborn. William chuckled. That sounds accurate. Silence settled comfortably between them. Then Clara looked at him. Not really. Looked at him. The man who had ridden through a storm for her, fought for her, believed her, loved her long before she felt worthy of it. You know something strange? What? The day you found me beside those railroad tracks. William listened. I thought my life was over. He reached for her hand. And now? She squeezed his fingers. Now, I think it was beginning. Emotion filled his chest, the kind impossible to describe. The kind people spend entire lifetimes searching for. Slowly he reached into his coat pocket. Clara's breath caught. Ring. Simple. Beautiful. Real. William knelt before her. Clara Ashford sounds nice. Tears immediately filled her eyes. So that's your proposal? I had a better speech prepared. What happened to it? He smiled. You happened. She laughed. Then cried, then laughed again, and finally whispered. The only answer he ever wanted. Yes. Months later, the entire town gathered for their wedding. Workers, neighbors, friends, everyone who had witnessed their journey. The ceremony took place beneath open skies. Exactly how Clara wanted it. As she walked toward William, sunlight danced across the prairie. For a brief moment she felt her parents beside her. Samuel, too. Watching. Proud. At peace. The vows were simple. The promises sincere. No grand speeches. No elaborate celebrations. Just two wounded souls choosing each other, choosing hope, choosing love. Years later, people would still tell the story how Duke William Ashford rescued a helpless girl beside the railroad tracks, but they always got one part wrong, because William eventually understood the truth. He hadn't saved Clara. Not really. Girl he found in the snow possessed a strength greater than anyone imagined. She had survived betrayal. Loss. Fear. And heartbreak. Then somehow found the courage to love again. The truth was far simpler. William thought he was rescuing a helpless girl, but in the end, she was the one who saved him from loneliness, from bitterness. From a life without purpose. And every night afterward, as the prairie winds whispered across the land they built together, William would hold Clara close and silently thank fate for one miraculous winter morning. The morning he found the girl who changed everything.